Good morning, Unity Christian Church of Memphis and friends. This day, I start that every single Sunday this day because every single Sunday, this day is how I start my day. It's a beautiful day. Even when it seems like things are not in alignment, I still start my day this way. And I know that with persistence that the events will come to fall in divine order. So if it seems repetitious, it's because it's become a discipline of thought. And this day is a good day. I would like to dedicate this service to Reverend Dr. Ruth Mosley, who is the founder of Unity Urban Ministerial School, the school of which I graduated and received my license and then ordination through Unity Worldwide Ministries. She was an amazing pioneer who saw the principles in Unity to be those that would be building blocks and a foundation for a joyful, purposeful life. And she shared that in her church in Detroit. And she moved hundreds of thousands of people of color into a philosophy of thinking in which it empowered their lives to create change, prosperity, and abundance, security, and foundation for family and strength. And we know that we have seen that as it was exampled this week when Detroit stood their ground and said, "My vote counts." So Dr. Mosley, bless you in your homegoing, and may you continue to shine your light through those who've touched and have been touched by your works. And that, I will say, is our opening prayer. And so it is. May we start with the daily word. Today's daily word is forgive. And we've talked about forgive throughout this process in the month of elimination. For Sunday, November 22nd, the word is forgive. In the peace of prayer, I release all unforgiveness. If I hold on to feelings of hurt, betrayal, or anger in response to another person's words or actions, I will block the flow of divine love and peace in my life. Unlike holding on to guilt, shame, or embarrassment that may arise when I have hurt another person, also keeps me from experiencing divine love and peace. Forgiveness, only forgiveness removes all barriers, all obstacles, anything that may be disrupting my experience of the divine presence. In order to forgive myself or another person, I need not justify or approve behavior that is unwelcome. I need only to become willing to forgive. In the peace of prayer, I release all forgiveness. In the peace of prayer, I release all forgiveness. I feel the healing power of divine love as it dissolves all barriers, all illusion of separation. I forgive and I am healed. And this is taken from Matthew chapter 6, verse 12. And forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. Today's lesson is the next step, step 4. Today's lesson is the next step, step 4. So we have worked, and now is a time to plan for the conception of the new idea. Next week is the final week of the week of elimination. We will have had 5 weeks to contemplate and plan for this new birth. And over the past 3 weeks, we have talked about the void, the empty space, creating a space within our consciousness, within our minds, within our hearts, of what it is that we want to see in the world. Our lives now, in this moment. This is the moment that we are planning for. Our lives now, by using those tools of forgiveness and realizing that there is this void. Our lives now, in this moment. Many of us hunger for companionship, fellowship, intimacy with families and friends. And we know how hard it is to be without that connection. We know that there's a need for food and shelter in the basics of life, even right now, as we have this communion with each other. People are standing and waiting in food lines in one of the wealthiest countries in the world, and yet we can isolate ourselves by being distracted by life as it moves on and think that's happening to them. It's not happening to me. Well, that's not true, because we're all divinely connected. Spiritually, we're all divinely one. There is no time in God. God's time is in this moment. Each moment, we have a birth of a new event by the way that we think. We create the situations and the relationships with people of the future in our lives in this moment. This moment is our tomorrow. The only way to break the chain of events is to break the stream of thoughts that support those stories that we've kept in our minds and we are completely out of touch with, because it's an illusion. It is some story that we created about the past, and we enrich the story with flavor and joy or pain. And yet we've come to make ourselves believe that this is exactly how this story unfolded in the past, much like that of Lot's wife. We've given it color and living that story in this moment of something that happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, a week ago. Giving it life. Creating this moment that we're in right now, holding our thoughts in our minds and in our hearts, making us believe that this is where we deserve to be. And maybe it is. It's the choice. But the question is it enough? Do we want to remain in the stories of the past? Science has proven that we only remember the past events based on what we were thinking about at the time that it happened. What were we thinking about that person at the time that this event happened? And in that is how we remember it. And those thoughts of how we remembered it are the foundation for how we choose to make the decisions for today, which turn into tomorrow. So now is the time for that spiritual self to melt away the attachment to those stories that have held us back. Forgive us of our debts as we forgive those who have debts against us. Forgive us of our debts as we forgive those who have debts against us. I will only be forgiven by how I forgive others. And I have to forgive myself. Forgive me my trespasses as I forgive those who trespass against me. We are divinely connected. We are one. The heart is creating with depth the experiences that we have based on our thoughts. It is the power. So what do you want right now? Right now, ask yourself, what do you want? It's not a trick question. There's an answer and only you know what it is. So ask, what is it? What do you want? Ask out loud. Just say it. This is where we are now in this season. If you're listening to these messages every Sunday, it is a progression of steps moving forward to give you freedom and liberty to create the prosperity of prayer and the abundance of life within your consciousness so that it can start to flow outside of you. Planting the idea of what you desire in your heart with intention is what we have been on this journey to learn as we move forward into our month of Advent. That is our intentional thought of prayer. That is our way of using learned methodology, that our intentional thought of prayer, may that thought bow to your needs. You have the choice to fill your life with what brings you joy. So the glory of God as the power, as the source of our prayers being answered based on our ask. So what do you want? As Howard Thurman would say, what do you want really? Your question, your answer, because when you become aware of the power of your prayer based on your request with deep passion, the consummation of spirit and the idea are the one fueled with the Spirit and the energy of the Holy Spirit, bringing it to manifestation. This is the conception of the Christ idea, who represented and is represented in Jesus the Christ. We all have the seeds of the divine idea within us because we are a divine idea. We were created out of the mind of God, which makes us a divine idea. And it is waiting for us to example that in our faith with a need. So then it goes back to the question, What do you want? What do you want really? When you can answer that question with your heart, as Dr. Thurman states, you will know the experience of the Comforter, and you will be in unity with the Holy Spirit, working with you in the purpose in life, your life, which impacts everybody, because we're all divinely connected. So I am going to attempt to share the meditation of Dr. Thurman's journey within. And because this is a one take only presentation, if for some reason it does not work out, then I will submit this one and then send a link on the website for you to listen to the meditation of Dr. Thurman. You want to take this question into your heart. What do I want really? What do I want really? And in this question, the universe will answer that. You see my new friend? I have wanted one of those for the longest time. And I've gone and I've held that in my consciousness. And then one day I went to a nursery and there it was. And it was like a giveaway. I mean, I was so excited to have my new living being share space with me. And I am so thrilled. And I know that if you can just hold the good in your heart and feel that with the power and energy of the ask, God, the universe, answers. So take this moment and hold that question. And now I will attempt to play this meditation so that you can hear that in your heart. And so it is.
Who am I? What is my name? And today I want to follow that with a second question that grows out of the first one. What do I want? What do I want really? What is it that is the fundamental thing that I'm after with my life? What is the meaning of all of the activities and the strivings and the struggles? What, after all, is my point? Am I really concerned ultimately about providing some windbreak against the world around me? Am I really concerned about the accumulation of economic power, which will give to me a sense of quiet security and tranquility without the threat either of poverty or some other kind of insecurity that can be measured in terms of dollars and cents, of things, of property? Is this the be-all and end-all of my striving? Or is it for something else, perhaps for fame, for a certain kind of honor, so that my name or my memory will be preserved and men will take cognizance of my presence, not because of what I may be in and of myself, but because of the kind of image that my life projects on the screen at which other men are looking? Is this the thing that I'm after? What is it that I really want? What is it that is capable of making me bring to bear upon a single end or focus or purpose? all of the resources of my life, my thinking, my dreaming, my struggling, so that in the fulfillment of myself, this thing will follow. Now, when I raise the question as to what it is that I really want, what is it that I am trying to find, to become, to get hold of, I'm assuming that this is the kind of world in which that for which a man is willing to pay the price of the full-orbed and yielding of the nerve center of his consent, that this is the kind of world that honors that kind of activity on the part of personality. For, you see, we either believe that life is finished, is fixed, is hard, is all readied. And if we believe this fundamentally, then we know deep within ourselves that there isn't anything that can be done about anything. That life as it is given is predetermined and is finished. Or we may be of the mind that life in its essence is not fixed, is not frozen, is not finished, but life in its essence is fluid, is creative, that there is a dynamism in which all life, individual life, is grounded, and that purposes, therefore, goals, dreams, ideals, can fulfill themselves because of the fluid, flowing character of all of life. And if the latter is true, as I believe it is true, then if a man is able to select a goal, a purpose, which to him is of transcendent significance, and on behalf of which he is willing to put all of the resources of his life and thought and mind at its disposal, then this is the kind of world that yields, that responds to this kind of demand. We have seen people who are caught up in a single idea. We say they have a fixed idea, or they, to use a colloquial phrase, we say they're hipped on something. And every time you see them, this is all they talk about. And if you don't want to be involved in it, then you have to escape them in some way. There is a kind of contagion that is inherent in the process when a person is able to put at the disposal of the thing that he seeks all of the resources of his life. Now, when he does this, then it means two things. One, that he is one thing. He becomes one thing. And also it means that the thing to which he is devoted, its quality, its character, its dimension, these things begin to invade him. And he becomes not merely like the thing that he seeks, but he becomes one with the thing that he seeks. This is the kind of world in which that for which a man is willing and able to yield the nerve center of his consent and to put at the disposal of that single end all of the resources of his mind and life and spirit. This is the kind of world that honors that. And it is wonderful, you see, because a man may not be talented. He may not be a great man in other people's eyes. He may be just a simple, humble human being, but at the place where he functions, with all of his simplicity, with all of his limitations, if he is able at that spot to say yes with all of himself to the thing which to him is more important than whether he lives or dies, whether he succeeds or fails, if he's able to say yes, then the resources of life begin to move towards him. It is this that the Master saw. He says that life is automatic, that if the conditions for growth and for development are met, then growth and development flow automatically. This is the kind of responsive, dynamic, living, throbbing universe that honors the mind and the spirit, that together can say one thing and be that. What is it that you want, really? If this can be clear to you, then all of the resources of life, and in my thought, even God himself, honors that which is for you worthy of the complete and utter nerve center of your consent.
As Dr. Thurman said, when the conditions are right, as Jesus, our wayshower, has told us, when the conditions are right, the conditions are the void that we have cleared within the space of our consciousness and our hearts. When the conditions are right and we plant the seed, then God, the Holy Spirit, breathes life into it. Thank you for joining us today. Next week is our final week of the month of elimination. Then we will be moving into Advent. May this week be a week to explore, contemplate, and think and plan with intention. Because we have been gifted the power within ourselves to hold a consciousness of peace and joy and harmony and make it so. Thank you for joining us. May you have a blessed week. And so it is. Amen.